Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia and I'm the owner of Alicia Be Creative. Today's tutorial, of course, is going to be Valentine's Day themed, and we are doing a little bit of a different take on Valentine's Day. So instead of your typical love type tumbler, we're going to do a Taco is my Valentine style tumbler. So this will be a peekaboo style tumbler. I've done a few on my channel already, but I could not pass up the opportunity to use this really cute vinyl from 311 Co., which I'm a brand new affiliate for. So I'm going to show you the package that they sent me of all these little cute vinyls to try out, and of course a new discount code will be linked down in the description box, as well as all the other products that I use for today's video. Before you go, be sure to give today's video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. But let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you the goodies that I got from 311 Co. So they sent me this cute little care package with all of these goodies, and so I wanted to show you some of the elements that I got. So this is like a little Valentine element sheet. You could use those for pens, as embellishments for other crafts. And then I also got some cute little decals in this little package here. Some of them do go with some of the vinyls that I'm going to show you. Of course, the Taco is my Valentine one, Things I Love, Margaritas and Tacos, and then Stronger Than the Storm, and a couple of pen wraps. And these were the vinyls that they sent me. I love that it was like a variation of different things that I just can see myself creating with. And so I had a lot of fun, I should say, with the different items that were in this box or in this package. They offer opaque vinyl, semi-transparent, and transparent vinyl, so you get a various, different styles of vinyl to be able to use, which I love. So I'll definitely link them down in the description box, of course, with my brand new affiliate code, in case you'd like to save a little money while you go ahead and purchase some vinyl. So we're back to what we would normally do at this point in the tutorial. We're going to go ahead and get this cup prep. So this is a 20-ounce slim sublimation tumbler. These I purchased because they were really discounted, and this was before I started doing sublimation. And so I don't prefer tapered cups for sublimation. I would just rather use a straight cup because it's easier. So I decided to use these for, of course, just regular epoxy tumblers. But I am still going to prep that all of the same. So sanding that surface, making sure it's all scuffed up, and then cleaning it and wiping it down with 91% rubbing alcohol. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and get my vinyl prepped here. So because this is a taper, this seam is not going to meet seamlessly, and that's okay because this is going to be turned into a peekaboo, so I'm not even worried or stressed out about the seam area. So I'm just going to use my cup to kind of help me create the guide for how much of this vinyl I'm going to need to use. That way I can use any of that excess vinyl for extra projects. I love to use like the little scraps and things for like a matching pen. You can use the scraps to create a keychain to match your cup. So don't feel like you have to throw away those scraps. I mean, I do try and like make sure that I'm gonna use them and make sure that they're large enough to use, because sometimes your girl will be keeping like the smallest, tiniest piece of a vinyl when in actuality there's no way or anything that I could actually use that for. But these kind of like extra scraps here definitely be perfect for like keychains, creating keychains, or creating like a pen to go with your tumbler. So we're going to go ahead and get this vinyl wrapped on the cup. I have told you guys this so many times, but my big squeege from Vinyl Gallery is literally my favorite tool because I use it for everything. No matter how big or how small the piece of vinyl I'm applying, like I will go for the big squeege if it's in front of me. It makes applying vinyl so seamless and so easy that I love it. I don't know how I've survived this long without it. So we're got our vinyl applied. We're going to go ahead and trim up where the excess is. And of course, we don't have a seam that lines up, but again, that's okay. We're not going to see that anyway because all this is going to be hidden under the peekaboo anyway in the glitter and beautifulness. So now we're of course going to finish cutting and trimming all of the edges, starting with my top rim. I just like to push the vinyl, make sure that it is nice and applied and adhered to the top rim because I don't want there to be anywhere where there can be puckering or a section where maybe the vinyl isn't adhered, where some epoxy could kind of seep into those areas. So make sure that that vinyl is pressed firmly onto the cup and that you don't have any gaps between your cup and your vinyl. Then we'll clean up the bottom using my cup edging tool. I get questions about this tool that I use. I just purchased mine from Amazon. You can find them on Etsy, but literally I just put them, I just grabbed mine from Amazon, and you just search cup edging tool. I will also have my Amazon store linked in the description box in case you just want to purchase the same one I did. So I am going to show you a little bit of working in Cricut. I don't normally do this, mostly because Cricut can be so slow for me, and I feel like it takes like years off my life every time I'm in Cricut Design Space. I don't know what it is, but Cricut just does not like to like me sometimes. So you guys are in for a treat because I'm including it. So this is going to be Valentine themed, even though it's all about our love for tacos. And the first thing I always do is I always like to go into the images that Cricut provides for you. Some of them, of course, are free. I do also pay for the subscription for Cricut. I just always have. And so I do get a lot more elements than maybe someone who doesn't purchase. But don't forget that you can search on Etsy if you want to find like fun shapes. You can draw things yourself in Procreate if you're used to using Procreate. You could search Creative Fabric. There are so many other places that you don't have to just get your elements from Cricut Design Space. Please don't ever feel like you have to. I just typically gravitate towards that because I already pay for it and I have it, so I might as well utilize it. So I've got 3 heart shapes. One is the just shape image that you get from Cricut, and then these two, of course, the other 2 are images specifically from the images tab. And so I want all 3 hearts because they are going to have 3 different purposes on the cup. And so for like my larger heart here that is kind of the outline, that's going to be my initial stencil, and we're going to use the whole thing because of course it is hollowed out, but I'm going to use the entire section there, and that's going to be my peekaboo piece. And then those 2 other white and pink hearts will be sort of our additional elements that we'll use afterward. So I'm just guessing about how many I'll need for the cup. I think I copied or duplicated it 8 times so that I had 8 shapes, 8 of each shape that I need. And so I'm going to just push all of the ones that I just copied, duplicated to the side. I'm going to take an additional blue, which again is going to be my stencil. We're not going to keep it hollowed out. And I am going to duplicate this again the amount of times that I need, but we're going to make this gold. So we are going to use the outline of this actual hollowed out heart here for the outline of our peekaboo element, which is the blue stencil on the left hand side. I know that seems super confusing, but I promise it's going to make sense once we get everything onto the cup. So we have cut our stencils out on Cricut. We're going to go ahead and get them applied. So my cup did go on the turner for 1 coat of epoxy. You don't technically need to do this. You didn't need to add a coat of epoxy. You very much could have just put your stencils directly over top. I just was working on multiple things at a time and I hadn't spent time in Cricut. So I did take the time to just epoxy it while I was epoxying other things before I applied my stencils. But you really could apply your stencil directly to vinyl because you're not going to have an issue with that pulling up if you're pretty delicate and careful about pulling that stencil back up after you do your glitter and things. So I'm taking these larger hearts here and I'm just going to go ahead and apply them wherever I see fit, keeping in mind that I am going to have 2 other heart elements on the cup as well. So I want to make sure that there is some decent space in between some of these areas. And I also am trying to be mindful too, right? I don't want to just put the heart on any space there. I'm trying to encompass some of the tacos because again, this is an eye. Tacos are my Valentine cup. So I'm trying to encompass like some of the peppers and some of the tacos and the tortillas so that is like the center or focal point of the heart because that's what will show through in our final peekaboo design. So I'm going to place this final heart right here in the middle of this sort of clump of hearts here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this to my spray tent and we're going to get it spray painted. So I just chose to do a red spray paint. I know you very much can still see all of the vinyl underneath, but don't worry. Don't stress out because you're not going to be able to see that after apply the glitter because the glitter is like a chunky mix and it's beautiful. So what I did there is a time saver. If you are someone who loses your stencils once you've placed them down and then you go to glitter and you can't find them again, do a little bit of hot glue as like your marker over your stencil. That way you know where to stick your, weeding tool in to pull that stencil piece off. So that is something that I have always forgotten to do. Like, I've known that that's a great hack and a great thing to use and do, but I always forget because I just get so excited about crafting and creating that I'm not thinking ahead sometimes. But definitely is a time saver because there have been plenty of times where I haven't done this and it has taken me twice as long to pull up the stencils after I've glittered something. So we now are applying a nice thin layer of epoxy. I'm using Flint Sisters Artist Cure to apply our glitter today. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this is covered, you know, top to bottom with epoxy. I am going a little bit more heavy than maybe I would for a finer glitter because this is a chunky mix and I want to make sure that this glitter sticks and stays. So the glitter we're using is Cupid. This is a custom mix from Batty Glitter, Myra Makes It's glitter. This is a limited edition glitter, so it is not something that's going to be offered all of the time, but if she does still have some available, I definitely would go and scoop that up before it is all gone, because this is one of my favorite Valentine mixes I've ever purchased and ever created. Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like, you can't even tell in this picture, but this mix is absolutely breathtaking. So I've applied all of my glitter and I'm gonna go ahead and of course pick up my glitter, and before I remove my stencils, because this is very much a chunky mix, it's got a lot of different size cuts of glitter, I wanna take the time to just smush down that glitter a little bit because I don't want to spend so much time needing to sand later, because we all know that sanding is literally like one of my least favorite things when it comes to doing glitter tumblers, because it's just not fun. It's just not fun. It's not a great part of the process. So smush that glitter down, save yourself some time. That way when you go to add your coats of epoxy, you won't have to like sand down so many pieces of glitter that are still sticking up through those coats of epoxy. So now on to the more tedious part, especially if you're doing, you know, epoxy method glitter application. Finding your stencils and removing all of the stenciled pieces. It did take me a little bit of time because these are larger pieces and because we had that outer section. This was originally a hollowed out heart that I had to make sure that I was getting every single piece off. And so after I'm done with this, I'm gonna let this dry, of course, because the epoxy is not cured. So about 4 hours, and then I put it on the turner after sealing it and did 2 full coats of epoxy on this. So I have been using Artist Cure because I'm currently out of the Flint Sisters Fast Set. So I did 2 coats of 30 mLs of epoxy over top of this before I just did my basic sanding, of course, of my top and bottom rim. So remember, in Cricut Design Space, I duplicated the stencil heart so that we could use the outline of this design to sort of shape our hearts. So I just cut those second duplicates of those stencil hearts on some textured metallic vinyl. That way we have a beautiful little cute little outline around all of our peekaboo hearts, just to make them stand out all the more, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed through this section here and just show you, you know, really quickly me applying all of these. I just have been using my craft knife when it comes to applying like these kinds of things. Textured metallic vinyl really holds up nicely, so it's just easier to use my craft knife than trying to use transfer tape, because this doesn't always love to stick to transfer tape as some other vinyls do. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully get all of those laid so they outline all of those beautiful hearts, and then of course we'll come back and apply our final our next decals, our next heart decals, of course, which will be sort of accents around the rest of the cup, okay? So the other 2 hearts I I cut them from Cricut Design Space in both a pink and white vinyl. So I'm going to finish weeding these pink hearts and then we'll get those applied. So these are going to be applied together, like they're meant to look like they're connected to one another or on top of one another. And I'll kind of show you what I mean here. I'm going to start with the white hearts because those are going to go under the hollowed out pink heart. But I'm going to use those white hearts and just apply those in all of sort of the open spaces. I'm actually not going to use all of these. I didn't have as much space as I thought, but I'd rather have more cut than I actually need, and I can save these for, you know, a matching keychain, a matching pen or something maybe to go along with this design. So after I've gotten all of the white hearts applied, don't forget the bottom. We got to make sure there's a little bit of embellishment on the bottom too. But after I've gotten those applied, I'll take my transfer tape and I'm going to take the pink outlined hearts and I'm going to go ahead and sort of apply them over top of the white hearts. I just love this look. It's so stinking cute. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take these hearts and make sure that they're basically touching the white heart at some, you know, in some section there, and it just makes this cute little, it almost gives me like that XO look, but with hearts, if that makes sense. It's just super cute and super like, this is Valentine's Day for sure, you know, even though this is about tacos and not about love. So I'm gonna finish, of course, covering up all of those white hearts with sort of the pink hollowed out heart. And then before I put this back on the turner, because of course we need to add a coat of epoxy before we add our decal, like our, you know, our main decal here, I'm gonna go ahead and take a bit of Minwax polyacrylic, which is my go-to for sealing in any of my textured vinyls, my washi tape, anything that I think could really give me a hard time with the epoxying process, with like repelling and things like that. So I want to take the time now to go ahead and seal this, make sure it's all nicely sort of covered in a thin layer of Minwax polyacrylic, let this dry for 40-45 minutes, and then throw it on the turner for another coat of epoxy. So we're now up to like 4 coats of epoxy at this point, I would say. For this coat, I only did about 20 mLs because it was pretty smooth to be able to work over for this coat of epoxy. And so now we're gonna apply our decal, because now we have another smooth surface to be able to work over. So these decals are white cast decals, meaning that it does have a white layer on the back of the decal, so it'll show up on darker bases. So good to know, always make sure to check your decals before you apply them, because if you have a fully transparent decal, you're not going to be able to see that as well on a colored base. But a trick for that, if you're having an issue where all you know can print is a decal that has a clear transparent background, you can add white spray paint and like a burst in the center and use that as your white backing, or cut it twice on white vinyl so that you have a layering feature. So that was the last step, and then this went back on the turner for its final coats of epoxy, and here is the final look at Tacos Are My Valentine. This is a super cute cup. I just loved it. I wanted to go a little bit different for Valentine's Day. You know, I love love, don't get me wrong, but you know what? I love tacos too. So I hope you guys did love today's tutorial. As always, if you loved my video today, be sure to give today's video a huge thumbs up. And if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do upload videos every Saturday. And you guys know that I'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye!